Hello, everyone. It is 11:30 Central, so we will get started. Thank you for tuning in to today's presentation, Why Wearables Are So Effective in Teaching Empathy. My name is Kelsey, and I'll be your moderator for today's presentation. First, here is your 30-second introduction to Realityworks for those of you who aren't familiar with us. We are an employee-owned company based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, that creates experiential learning tools for teaching job and life skills. We got our start over 20 years ago when former NASA engineer Rick Germain created the first RealCare baby infant simulator, then went on to found the company that is now Realityworks. Today, our training tools combine curriculum with hands-on learning tools, student activities, and assessments. Baby is still around, but now you can look to us for tools like our bovine birthing and ultrasound, our virtual welding simulator, our wearable geriatric sensitivity suits, and if you have some time, we encourage you to check out our website and see it all. Presenting today, we have Emily Kuhn, who is the Senior Campaign Specialist here at Realityworks and has been with us for over 10 years. She collaborates with educators and administrators to understand how they are implementing Realityworks products and programs into their schools. And she is also a frequent presenter on topics regarding soft skills, student engagement at education conferences, webinars, and professional development. Before we get started, I want to cover a couple things. First, today's presentation is being recorded, and all attendees will receive a link containing the recording, as well as a copy of the PowerPoint slides and free resources. For those of you attending live today, you also receive a certificate of completion for attending today's presentation. And keep an eye on your email. You will receive that email within 24 hours after the presentation. We will have time at the end for Q&A, so feel free to type your questions in the chat or Q&A feature located at the bottom of your screen. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to Emily.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kelsey, for that intro, and welcome everyone. Thanks again for joining us today. I'm super excited to talk to you about why wearables are so effective for teaching empathy. Let's get started by just taking a quick peek at what we're going to cover today. So you've already gotten the intro of who we are here at Realityworks, and we are going to dive right in by reviewing the needs of today's students and the importance of empathy and other soft skills. We are also going to explore why wearables in particular are such a powerful way to foster empathy and emotional intelligence. And then we'll take a specific look at 5 simulators that we offer here at Realityworks. You guys will be able to see how our geriatric simulator works, along with our geriatric sensory impairment kit, our COPD and mobility challenges simulation, our hemiplegia simulator, and our dementia simulation experience. And you'll learn how they can be used in the classroom to create the meaningful learning moments that really help your students develop empathy and emotional intelligence. And then finally, I'll wrap by sharing some free resources that'll help you bring these tools into your program. And like Kelsey just said, we'll have time for questions at the end. So with that, let's dive in. So first, we'll take a moment to talk about who today's students are, because of course, better understanding them helps us better connect with them. So Generation Z, most of the students in classrooms today are part of Generation Z. That's anyone born between 1997 and 2012. So that means these students range in age from middle school to young professionals. Personally, I like to think of this generation in terms of my own kids. The youngest Generation Zers are around 12, which is about the same as my oldest child. This generation, of course, is the first to grow up entirely in the digital age. They're digital natives who've always had access to smartphones, they've always had access to social media, and they've always had access to high-speed internet. And because of that, their brains are wired a little bit differently. They expect information quickly and they navigate tech intuitively. I see this in my oldest child all the time. One really encouraging fact about Gen Z is that they are actually more likely than earlier generations to finish high school and go on to college. So you're working with a highly motivated group of students. They just learn a little differently than their predecessors. So let's talk about how Generation Z learns. So we've already discussed a bit. These students are incredibly comfortable navigating digital environments, having grown up with them. They tend to process information super quickly, and they gravitate toward visual and interactive content. But with this comfort with technology also comes that conditioned expectation of immediacy, right? Immediate access to information, instant feedback, fast interactions. That shapes how they approach learning. Traditional lectures and slow feedback can feel frustrating or disengaging to them. It's also really important to note that they're not necessarily struggling with super short attention spans, but rather everything you're doing is competing with a constant stream of content. So to truly connect with them, lessons really need to feel relevant and experiential. And that's why tools like wearable simulators can be so powerful. So here's a quick look at how learning preferences have evolved across generations. What really stands out to me, I've got it highlighted in yellow on the screen, is Generation Z's get it now, do it now, learn it now mindset. Again, these students are looking for fast access to information, they're looking for hands-on experiences, and they're looking for real-time feedback. And as you can see, that's a pretty big shift from previous generations who are more comfortable with delayed results or more passive learning. For educators, again, this highlights the need to move from telling to experiencing using tools like wearable simulations. So before we dive into those wearables, let's take a quick look at what empathy is and why is it so important. So this is a quote from Miranda Kessler. She is a health science educator I've worked with in the past, and I think it really captures what so many instructors, whether they're in healthcare or social services or education and other helping professions, have told us. Empathy isn't just a buzzword. It's what helps our students connect with others on a really human level. And it becomes especially important if you're working with aging populations, for instance, where patience and understanding can truly impact someone's quality of life or quality of care. When we give students the opportunity to experience what it feels like to move slowly, to struggle with fine motor skills, or to hear less clearly, it changes their mindset. Your young, healthy students will begin to act with more compassion, more patience, and more respect. And that shift makes all the difference, whether they're in a hospital or a classroom or a counseling session, or even just helping someone at the grocery store. As we prepare our students for the real world, it's also important to recognize that empathy isn't just a nice to have. It's actually something employers are actively looking for. So the statistics on your screen show just how valuable empathy is across different roles and industries. When someone's working in healthcare or hospitality, education or retail, being able to understand and respond to others with compassion and awareness has a measurable impact. 85% of customers say they prefer emotionally intelligent representatives. That means empathy improves customer service. 76% of employees say empathy actually increases productivity, and over 60% say they're more loyal to coworkers who show empathy. And that last statistic stands out to me the most. 1 in 2 people say a lack of empathy causes them to disengage. That affects things like team performance, culture, and retention. So the takeaway here is clear. Empathy isn't just something that we should teach for emotional or ethical reasons. It's actually something today's workforce demands. All right, so why wearables? Wearable simulators are an incredibly effective way to teach empathy, especially when it comes to sensitive or personal topics. So let's take a closer look why. So we just said one of the many benefits of wearables is that it's a great way to address sensitive or personal topics. For instance, if you're in a health science setting and you're practicing peer physical exams, well, those can make students uncomfortable. They can even limit learning. In contrast, wearables offer a safe and a private, but still realistic experience. In fact, a recent study from the University of Minnesota found that wearables provide strong realism without sacrificing psychological safety. In fact, the study found that students using wearable simulators were rated satisfactory by both faculty and peers. And even better, wearables allow students to develop both technical skills and those other soft skills that go hand in hand, like patience, like communication, like teamwork. They don't just simulate a task, they simulate an experience. What makes wearable simulators really special is how they help students see beyond the procedure and connect with the person. Whether it's simulating limited mobility, or vision or hearing loss, or respiratory challenges, these tools give students a chance to feel what their patients, clients, or family members might feel. And that physical experience sparks a deeper understanding and really helps them develop the kind of empathy that sticks. These are the tools that will make your lesson sticky. 2022 article from Healthy Simulation did point out that wearables don't just prepare learners for the technical side, but again, this research also shows they improve communication, they improve the emotional intelligence. It improves how students respond to real world interpersonal challenges. And the best part, they can do all of this affordably without needing super high-end simulation labs. These tools are powerful and they help you create really scalable learning that sticks. So let's take a look at some tools. We are going to take a peek again at 5 tools that we offer here at Realityworks. We'll have a chance to see them in person. We'll review some of the lessons. And again, at the end of today's presentation, you'll be given links where you can visit our website and learn even more about these tools. So the first one we're going to talk about is our geriatric simulator. This is actually the very first tool that we developed to help students start to develop empathy and geriatric sensitivity. This simulator allows students to physically experience what it's like to age. By putting on vision distorting goggles, by wearing a weighted vest, students will wear gloves and joint restrictors. Your young, healthy students, as they start to complete daily tasks while wearing all of these parts and pieces, will start to develop empathy for the mobility and sensory challenges that older adults or adults with limited mobility face every day. This is truly a powerful tool for helping students understand and not just know what aging feels like. So now let's see it in action. So here you see a student attempting a simple task, walking up a flight of stairs while wearing the simulator. This activity, which of course many of your students do with ease several times a day at least, suddenly feels slower. It suddenly feels more frustrating. And that's the point. This experience helps students better understand why someone might be moving more slowly or maybe asking for repetition. Now, this tool comes with robust curriculum, and many of the lessons incorporate this wearable simulator in some way. For example, the visual impairment lesson suggests that you divide the class into groups and have each group try to do simple tasks like reading a page out of a book or buttoning a shirt while wearing those visual impairment glasses that you see our student wearing in the video now. Similarly, there's a lesson on declining mobility. And so that lesson suggests that students all wear just the weights while bending over to pick something up, or like we're seeing on the screen now, walking up and down the stairs. Again, helping your students build real empathy, not just sympathy. So next is our geriatric sensory impairment kit. This kit zooms in on the common sensory losses that many older adults experience. It includes 3 separate simulators that mimic arthritis, hand tremors, and hearing decline. So when students try to button a shirt or if they try to follow instructions while wearing some of these tools, they start to realize just how challenging and often isolating these experiences can be. So here we're seeing an individual struggling with something as routine as opening a water bottle. When students do these activities themselves, again, that frustration starts to become real. These challenges promote not only patience, but a mindset shift. How can I make this easier or maybe even more respectful for the person I'm interacting with? Like our geriatric simulator, the curriculum helps participants learn about age-related bone and joint changes, including flexibility, strength, and range of motion, and it includes several simulation experiences like the one you're watching, plus a fully immersive lesson. So next is our COPD and mobility challenges simulator. This simulator replicates the physical exhaustion. It replicates the breathlessness of someone living with COPD or mobility limitations. It comes with a weighted vest plus task instructions that mimic daily routines. So students, by going through the lessons and wearing the simulator, will start to understand how walking even short distances or completing small tasks can require major effort, and they'll discover why offering to help sometimes isn't always an option. So in this video, we're watching a student walking just a short distance while wearing the COPD vest and breathing out of a straw. You can see without even needing to hear anything that she's become tired, that she's experiencing it to be quite difficult to move, even if it's just a basic movement. These insights will really help your students understand the hidden workload of chronic conditions and improve the way they offer assistance and care. This simulation as well includes a robust curriculum. And Throughout the lessons that are included, students will learn about respiratory illnesses and mobility challenges in older adults, and they'll learn how to enhance those soft skills when working with those individuals to provide more compassionate care or to become a more compassionate communicator. Next is our hemiplegia simulator. This simulator mimics the effects of a stroke by restricting motion on one side of the body. Students can try daily tasks like putting on a jacket or walking with an unbalanced gait. It's really an eye-opening experience that fosters deep respect for those learning to live and thrive after trauma. So here we see a student just trying to walk a short distance. This daily activity becomes awkward and frustrating, and that's the point. When students feel this struggle, they not only build empathy, but also a better understanding of why patience and dignity matter in rehabilitation settings. Like our other tools, the accompanying curriculum is awesome. It integrates the simulator to give participants a fully immersive experience of what it's like to live with this daily condition. It puts participants through a series of daily living tasks like the one you saw, with plenty of opportunities to reflect and assess their learning. Finally, we have our dementia simulation experience. This uses a blend of disorienting audio, uncomfortable gear, and confusing instructions to help students feel what it's like to navigate daily life with dementia. This is really more than just a simulation. It's an emotional experience that really can change the way students think and interact. The lessons that come with this simulation are designed to help students understand the differences and workable interventions for caring with individuals with 5 different kinds of dementia, and understand how the different conditions compare and contrast. Now, we don't have a video of this simulator in action, but I would love to play a sample of one of the 5-minute audio recordings that are included with this simulator. Each of the recordings are specific to one of 10 scenarios in the simulation, and they're designed to really just enhance the realism of the scenario. So let's take a moment to listen to a short clip.
Bryce, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Listen, the doctor has asked me to go ahead and take you for a little walk. I'm going to ambulate you at the top for about 10 feet. And in order to do that, for safety issues, I'm going to use this gait belt. This transfer belt, is that okay with you?
That's fine.
All right. Let me go ahead. I'm going to pull your privacy card. To make sure that is not.
So again, this audio clip is included along with other features to make the scenarios in this simulation experience really realistic. Students will pair up, they can practice being the caregiver or the individual suffering from dementia, and they get to experience both sides, both from a helping perspective, the person who is interacting with and trying to communicate with an individual with dementia, and then they get to experience what it's like to be struggling with that dementia, to trying to focus on a conversation or an interaction with someone while you're hearing other things, while you're experiencing other things. So again, this is a great hands-on immersive tool to help your young, healthy students start to develop empathy and emotional intelligence. All right, well, those were all the tools that we wanted to cover today. I just wanted to share some free resources that we have to help you take whatever next step you're ready to take. First, you can access a plethora of free soft skills posters and infographics on our website. We have one specific to soft skills in healthcare. We also have a selection of infographics that are great opportunities to jumpstart conversations about soft skills in general, because of course they are essential for any career path, not just healthcare. You can find all of those posters on our website using the URL on your screen. We also have a wonderful free guide on teaching empathy toward older adults. It's full of activities and insights to help you start or strengthen empathy-based instruction. One asset in that guide that's my personal favorite is an empathy self-assessment. It's a really great way to kick off a conversation on empathy. Have your students complete a quick 1-page worksheet, and they'll just really start to think about how empathy affects even their daily lives without them realizing it. Really great tool. That and several others in that guide. And then, of course, you can see the tools that we just talked about, and you can see everything else we offer to help students develop empathy and geriatric sensitivity on our website using the URL on your screen. If you have any questions, of course, about the tools or how to use them or anything we discussed, please reach out. You can email us, call us, or live chat directly on our website. All right, I think we can take a moment to see if anyone has any questions. And if you don't have any questions, again, if you're ready for a conversation, if you want some more information on any of the information we just shared, this QR code is also a great way to connect with someone on our team. You can scan that, fill out the brief form that you'll be directed to, and someone from Realityworks will reach out to you to have a conversation. So Kelsey, do we see any questions or comments that need to be addressed?
Yeah, we have a couple questions here. First question is, what careers could these simulation experiences help students prepare for?
Oh, that's a great one. And I love the answer because it's truly any. We have a specific focus on healthcare. I think it's really easy to see how these tools apply to students who are training to be future CNAs, future nurses, future home health aides, and things like that. But anyone who interacts with any adults at any given time can use empathy, right? We learned earlier in the presentation how valuable those skills are in any workplace setting. So if your students are going to be teachers, if they're going to work in a counseling scenario, if they're going into any of those helping professions, these tools will help them hone that emotional intelligence that they can bring with them throughout their professional career.
Perfect. And then just one more question here is, what education level are these kits intended for?
Oh, that's a good one. I love that all of these tools are designed to really meet you wherever you are in your instruction, whether you're teaching middle schoolers, high schoolers, or even post-secondary. The curriculum in particular, I've referenced a few times, is truly robust, and you can pick and choose the lessons that work for you. And I think that's what really lets you either simplify it for, say, a middle school setting. Maybe you're just starting to explore careers with your students and you're just wanting to give them a taste of what it might be someday to be a nurse or a CNA, for instance. Then you maybe only need one or two of the lessons from the curriculum that introduce the topic. But if you're working with, say, post-secondary students whose truly next step is the real world, the workplace with real human patients or real human individuals, you can utilize all the lessons with these simulators and really dive deeply into what it's like to age or what it's like to suffer those tactile sensations with the geriatric sensory impairment kit, or suffering from dementia, or some of those more specific scenarios. So really, these can be applicable across the learning spectrum. It just depends on how deep you want to dive into each topic.
Awesome. And then it looks like we have one more here. Someone asked if there's any plans to develop materials that or simulations that will simulate vertigo and or post-concussion related symptoms.
Ooh, I am not aware of any plans, but I will tell you, and this is no joke, every one of the tools that we just talked about were developed as a result of educators requesting them because there wasn't anything out there that could be used to teach these topics. So I'm going to take that idea and we'll pass it along to our product managers. This is what they love hearing, and I know they will seriously consider something.
Awesome. It looks like those are all the questions that we have at this time then.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thanks everyone for taking the time today. We hope the presentation was useful. Again, keep an eye on your inbox. We'll send everyone the recording. You'll have access to my slides with all of those resource links as well. And we'll get that out to everyone within the next 24 hours. Thanks again.